Hello and welcome back, guys, to Off on Tangents. This is episode number 5 now, Jake?
Yeah, wow.
We've been consistent with it, I suppose. But yeah, no, welcome back. I hope you guys are enjoying our content. We're back with another show. Jake is here. He's got his Kobe jersey on. He bought that from a $2 Asian shop in Campbelltown.
Oh, basically, I was going to get groceries last night, and as I was walking past the store, I looked to the left, and I was like, "Nah, is that a Kobe jersey?"
Yeah.
And then I looked at the prices, and it was one for $12. I was like, sweet, dish it out.
Yeah, nice. Well, it's so 90s. I was actually speaking to you
cool,
beforehand. It's so Los Angeles and so 90s, and Jake thought that we pay homage again to Kobe,
sure,
Bryant.
Well, the memorial was this past week.
Yeah.
So I guess it's still fresh on everyone's mind at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
So
how's your week been? Everything all good on your end?
yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty chilled at the moment, getting ready for uni to start next week. So
yeah, nice.
Back into the swing of things again. But this week was pretty chill.
Yeah.
How about you?
Oh, well, yeah, pretty good. Had a decent work week, even though I'm working like 14-hour weeks. So, but I've got everything all good on my end. Just keen to talk about basketball, talk about hip hop. We have a pretty good show today, guys. We will be talking about the current and emerging play of Jayson Tatum from the Boston Celtics, who are being slept on at the moment. Like no one really is talking about them.
All off season they weren't someone that I thought about at all. They picked up Kemba, and I was like, whatever.
Which is good, I suppose. Like less drama.
Less spotlight.
No, yeah. Well, they want less drama. I'm not, and I'm referring to someone.
Yeah. We know.
Yeah. We'll be talking about him. We'll be talking about the play of Russell Westbrook, and a couple of weeks ago we were talking about if the trade was a good thing for the Houston Rockets, with them going small after trading Clint Capella for Robert Covington. So we'll definitely get into that, and our wrapper for the week is none other. Jake's already smiling, but none other than Kendrick Lamar. So
K.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar. Well,
Kung Fu Kenny.
His name is Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, but I don't really know that. But he goes by Kendrick Lamar, and I'm sure everyone knows how good he is. He's probably the rapper of the decade. Most people would agree on that, like the rapper of the decade. So we have a pretty full on show, and we're keen to share it with you. So our first topic is obviously the basketball and the current play of Jayson Tatum. So Jake, are you impressed as I am regarding Jayson Tatum? Because I think his play now, given what happened last season with Kyrie, it's just been the last month. He probably will get Player of the Month. It's just been free flowing. Like he kind of reminds me of Kawhi Leonard. I don't know.
Really?
It's weird. Like the way he plays, he's a very good defender. And right now, like he kind of reminds me of Kawhi Leonard. The way he's playing and the way he's shooting the 3-ball is really impressive. Hey, so. Talk to us. Like, what do you think of his current play at the moment and the Celtics in general?
Well, you've said already. Like I think it's just he's impressing us in terms of the first year. We sort of got a bit of a glimpse at Jayson Tatum, and we saw sort of this emerging star in his first season as a rookie, and I think we sort of lost a bit of that last year when Kyrie came back and there was all the drama. His play just dropped off last year, and I think all the issues that were going on with the Celtics in their locker room and whatever was going on with Kyrie taking more ball, it was he got to shine after the injury to Kyrie in that first year when they made the playoffs, and they came through and they pushed to the East Conference Finals, and then they took LeBron James to 7 games.
Exactly.
They almost won the 7th game as well. And I remember Jayson Tatum had a big dunk on LeBron in that game. Yeah, and he was G'ing up. So that was exciting. So I think from that point, we sort of got this idea that this guy was going to be a superstar in the league. Then last year, I think everyone was a little bit disappointed with the Celtics' performance, and whatever was going on with Kyrie and all that definitely overshadows it prevented his growth in the way that it should have gone. So this year I think we're getting to see again what he's capable of, especially in the past month. As you said, he's just been playing crazy good, man. So I don't know what's happened in the past month. You were telling me before that Kemba Walker's been out, so maybe there's more. Maybe he's got more of a chance to step up. But
definitely. I mean, well, for those that don't know, Jayson Tatum was the 3rd pick in the 2017 draft out of Duke, and he was drafted behind Markelle Fultz and Lonzo Ball. Well, looking back in hindsight now, that is probably
the worst.
I mean, Lonzo Ball was playing decent ball, no pun intended, from for New Orleans, but
he's gone. He had a rough 2 years. But I actually still see a lot of potential in Lonzo.
Yeah, definitely. But definitely, we look back at it now, and Jayson Tatum is the best player in that draft.
Well, Sixers fucked up. Sixers had the first pick.
Yeah,
they could have added to the process essentially with Ben Simmons and imagine Jayson Tatum on that team with those 2 guys, man. That'd be crazy good.
Yeah. Well, he had like you said, he had an outstanding rookie year. Took him. He had a major role in that playoff run against heading into the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they bowed out to LeBron James and the Cavs in 7. But then the whole chemistry issue. Well, firstly, there were a couple of issues. One, they couldn't figure out who was leading that team when Kyrie came back. Obviously, Kyrie wanted to lead that team, and then
that's why he left to LeBron James to begin with. Is he wanted to be the leader of his own team, didn't he?
Yeah, good point. And then it stunted the growth and development of not just Jayson Tatum, but also Jaylen Brown. Marcus Morris was on that team as well, and they couldn't figure it out because they didn't have that identity of who's going to lead this team. And so looking back now, it wasn't all Kyrie Irving to blame for that. They had to figure it out, but they couldn't, and they bowed out to who was it?
The Bucks, I think it was.
Yeah, the Bucks. 4-1.
Well, they went up one game, and Paul Pierce with the famous quote being like, "This series is over."
After game 1, that's right. They did win. And Paul Pierce, terrible. Terrible
analyst.
But
great player.
Shout out to the truth, by the way. You're right. That did happen, and now we know that Kyrie just wanted out. He left, signed a 4-year deal with the Brooklyn Nets, and he teamed up with Kevin Durant. But going back to Jayson Tatum, it stunted his growth and development in terms of who's leading this team. Now, they pretty much did a swap between Kyrie and Kemba Walker. For Kemba Walker, and Kemba, he doesn't have much of an ego compared to Kyrie, right? Now, look, once Kemba comes back from his injury, I feel like he can take a step back. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna interfere with Jayson Tatum's growth and development.
No, definitely.
And he's gonna let Jayson Tatum carry this team, which rightfully so.
Well, I don't even know if he needs to carry the team per se, because it just seems like obviously Kyrie wanted to carry the team, right?
Yeah.
But I think the whole Celtics culture is very based around team ball. I think Brad Stevens is a very team-based coach. He doesn't want always giving the ball to someone. He wants everyone to be playing together and working as a unit.
Yeah.
And I think Kemba fits into that culture better than Kyrie. Kyrie just, give me the ball, I'll take this shot. This team this year, there's very much on any given night. You can have anyone step up. If Jaylen Brown's going to step up, if he needs to, he'll step up.
Yep.
Jason Tatum's stepping up all the time.
Okay.
And Kemba will step up when he needs to as well. I think the difference with him and Kyrie is that he's happy to allow the other two to step up.
Yeah.
When it needs to happen.
Correct.
Whereas Kyrie, I think he wanted to be the guy every night.
Yeah.
He wanted to be the main guy. So, yeah, I just think he fits in better with the team in general.
Definitely, yeah.
It's more of there's less selfishness in this team.
Correct.
It's more. It seems like everyone's happy when one of them's succeeding.
Yep.
If one of them's scoring a bucket, you can see they're all geeing up. They're all ecstatic for their teammates.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a better culture all around this year.
Yeah, and your good points that you bring up, like the selflessness, is definitely there in the Celtics team now that Kyrie's gone. Now it's not just, and we're not this. Look, we are insulting Kyrie in a way, like maybe he is the cause of most of the issues, but I'm sort of glad he's gone from the Celtics, and just letting. We're seeing a star in the making, in Jayson Tatum, and if you look at his stats right now, 23.3 points, 7 rebounds, 2.9. He's got to improve his assists. That's sort of like Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi had to improve gradually as he played. His assists have been increasing, which he's only in his third season, but he will get there. And I feel like he's probably the best, maybe second or third best player under 21, maybe behind Luka and Luka.
Ben Simmons.
Second. No, I wouldn't say Simmons, but
really,
no. I just something bugs me about Simmons, Ben.
The attitude, maybe.
No, not the attitude, but the fact that he just doesn't want to shoot. Just annoys me. It just annoys me. He doesn't want to shoot.
Yeah.
But look, that's another conversation.
Let's not go down that road.
But yeah, look, definitely the Celtics are definitely a problem in the East. Now, the only weakness I have for the Celtics is their bench. A couple of years ago, they had one of the deepest benches in the league. Like you had Marcus Smart, Marcus Morris. Who else was coming off the bench for them? But they had a really deep bench. Terry Rozier was coming off the bench for them.
In that series to 7, he really stepped up.
Now, their bench right now is... I couldn't even name half of these players. Like maybe Wanamaker and Ojale, but I don't know. Do you know any of them?
Kanter, but...
Kanter will come back and he'll probably be inserted into the starting lineup. And then once Kemba comes back, Marcus Smart will go back to the bench, and he will strengthen that. But then,
you say Enes Kanter will go into the bench. Will go back into the starting lineup. Yeah. So there's Daniel Tice then coming off the bench. Yeah, he's a pretty good backup. Yeah, he's a very good. Very good
backup. He's undersized, but in this day and age, undersized centers are what you want. I mean, considering what Rockets are, 6 foot. PJ Tucker's at 6'5", so
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
he plays with heart. He plays with the heart of a big center. So.
Yeah. What do you think, Jake? Do you think the Celtics team has what it takes to get to the Eastern Conference Finals?
I actually would say in the Eastern Conference, they're probably my favorite team to take on the Bucks. Yeah. I would be surprised if the Philly can get... I'll go for Philly, obviously, in the Eastern Conference, but I'll be surprised if they can pull it together in time and get themselves into position to take on the Bucks, because I know that the standings at the moment pretty much match up the Bucks with the Philly in the second round. So we're not going to get, in all likelihood, an Eastern Conference final between Philly and Bucks.
Yep.
And when I think of the team that's going to come up and give them some trouble, I would say it's this team. Okay. I haven't bought into the Raptors all that much, even though they've played pretty good season.
Yeah.
They've proved that it wasn't just all Kawhi Leonard. I think the playoffs will be a different situation. I remember last year, just up until the finals themselves, I remember just thinking, man, these guys are getting carried by Kawhi.
Yeah.
It was a one-man army, man. Other than on defense, they were clearly doing what they needed to do on defense. But yeah.
Sorry, everyone. Jake's cats.
My cat's just coming in. Hey, great timing.
No.
I do think the Celtics will be the team that come through and give a challenge to the Bucks.
Sure.
Whilst I don't think anyone's gonna really challenge the Bucks, but I was wrong with that last year. So when you bet me on the Bucks going out.
So on record, you are taking the Celtics to make the conference finals, or
okay. If the standings stay with Bucks first, Raptors second, Celtics third, and then Philly fourth, then I can guarantee, or not guarantee, but that's what I'm going to stand with is the Celtics making it to the finals.
Jake's cat is stealing the show.
Yeah,
everyone.
Say hi, Mello.
But okay. We'll leave it there. What do you guys think at home? Do you think the Celtics have what it takes to, beat the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals? Jake certainly thinks so. I'm still banking on the either the Sixers or the Raptors to meet the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. So yeah, we'll see.
I like the faith that you have in the Sixers, bro. Maybe I should take some of that. I should take after you and have more faith.
Well, like I said, I think it was last week or in the episode 2 weeks ago. I honestly think the playoff format will help the Sixers get over the line.
3 home games.
Yeah, exactly.
They just need one. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. They're just not going to get the home advantage.
Sure.
At any point where they're sitting at the moment. So.
All right. Well, we wanted to talk about the.
They just need to be in everything, Cats. They just want to be right in you.
He's gonna. I bet you guys. This cat's gonna steal the show.
Yeah, watch us get.
So
more likes than ever on this one.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to we're just gonna give a little analysis about the Clint Capella trade, and how it's positively affecting the Houston Rockets. Now, a couple of shows ago, we were talking about whether the trade would help or hinder the Rockets, and I think I was 50-50 on it. I felt like they weren't going to go anywhere. It was either just going to stay the same.
Yeah, we were both sort of unsure about it at the time.
Just because of the size factor.
Yeah, it's also just something that we haven't really seen in the past 2 decades.
Yeah.
Like in the 2000s, the center was, you could build a team around the center.
Exactly.
When there was Shaq and Tim Duncan, and it was sort of you couldn't imagine a team without a center. So it was weird in going into this era. What are we to expect? Is every team going to get rid of their center?
Yeah.
But I think it's been a bit of a surprise. They've been pretty good since doing
exactly. Now, you're right. This whole small ball era, or it's not really, well, it is kind of small ball era. Talk to us about how it's improving Russell Westbrook's play. Now, Russell Westbrook drafted in 2008, I think 4th overall pick, 9-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ. Average a triple. Everyone knows he averaged a triple-double season in 2016, 2017.
He did it twice, didn't he? He did it.
He did.
He got the MVP for that year, and then he did it again the next year as well.
Yeah. So talk to us after Clint Capella left, how his play has improved.
Well,
Jake?
I think one of the biggest things that you notice in a team, just like when you're thinking about Philly, you look at the guys like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid and how they operate, and they're very go to the rim sort of guys. They score at the rim, they score in the paint, and there's a lot of discussion about whether the presence of both of those players clogs up the lane for the other player and makes it harder to score. And that's a big issue in Philly. I think the trade with Clint Capella has almost addressed that issue within the Rockets, where now the lane is just completely open for Russell Westbrook. Sure. There's no one that's going in. Everyone's on the 3-point line because everyone's three-point shooters. So Russell Westbrook will have all the room. Even James Harden, who can shoot, but he can drive it on any possession. Yep. So I think the lane is just completely open now because they're drawing out defenders, and Russell Westbrook is just an explosive player. So if he's given any sort of daylight, he's going to exploit it. Yeah. And I think with the Thunder, he struggled for years in that they weren't ever a strong 3-point shooting team. Yeah. So I remember we were talking last week or a few weeks ago about whether the trade for Russell Westbrook in general was a good trade for the Houston Rockets. But I think when we're thinking about it in terms of was it a good trade for Russell Westbrook, I'd say definitely it's probably the best. It's probably one of the best places he could be in a 3-point shooting culture. And by getting rid of Clint Capella, it's probably made the fit of Russell Westbrook better for Houston as well. Yeah. So now they're both benefiting off it. He can play his game, score at the rim and not have anyone impeding him, or he could go in, draw defenders in, and pump it out to one of the 4 3-point shooters. Exactly. And it's just, how do you stop that type of offense? Yeah.
Well, it's good. It's a good point that you made with the spacing the floor and the paint's like so clear now for him to drive. It's I agree with you. He's just playing with freedom now, I feel. Yeah. There was an interesting stat. Correct me if I'm wrong out there, but since the trade, his three-point percentage was he was shooting at 43% from three-point range. Since the trade. Even though his 3-point percentage for the season's really poor, he's only shooting it at 25%, which is not great. But that is like still a positive sign for him that, okay, just shoot the three. Where our identity is about three, shooting the free ball and spacing the floor. So just shoot it. He's got that mentality now where, okay, I can shoot this with freedom, with confidence. Yeah, with confidence, and that's what he's been able to do. And I'm for Houston. I want them to win a ring. Win a championship.
Yeah, I wanted them to win that year when Chris Paul was there. I was a bit disappointed by the fact that they got so close.
The hamstring away.
He got injured. And yeah, it does feel like they've been that close that many times that they deserve to come out of this at some point in the James Harden era with a ring. Yeah. It just feels unfair at this point. Yeah. They've tasted it so many times. They've been so close, and they've struggled. They've not had one finals appearance to show for it. Yeah, which is just weird.
Exactly right, and it doesn't help Mike D'Antoni's record as well.
It's weird because he's a great coach, but he cops so much heat.
He's never. I don't think Mike D'Antoni's ever been to the finals. He's only reached the conference finals. One with Phoenix, one with Houston, but aside from that, it's either been first or second round exits. Which,
but you could look at it he's not making the finals, but every year his team's making it deep into the playoffs. At least in the past 5 years. That's right. It seems a bit unwarranted, the type of criticism that he's copying. You know, there's coaches that aren't even making the playoffs on a regular basis.
That's right. Apologies, guys. We just had some technical difficulties with the podcast. Our audio recorder ran out of battery, so we just put some new batteries into the recorder. We're back on now, but we just wanted to continue on with our previous conversation. So with Mike D'Antoni, do you believe that he's being unfairly criticised for just because he hasn't made it to the finals? Yeah. And he's had the teams that he has wanted,
His system, he's implemented his system
correct,
well. What I was saying essentially before the technical issue was he's been that close every time, and I think it's easy to forget that the reason he's not quite made it has just been because of the team they were coming up against every year in the West Conference Finals was Golden State.
Correct.
And it just feels a little bit unfair to criticize him for that. The team was stacked, and they're probably one of the best teams in history in terms of the sheer firepower of that team. Even, the LeBron Cav teams, when they came against that team in the finals, both times lost 4-0 and 4-1. And that was with Kyrie the first year. They lost, 4-1 or 4-0? So
4-1,
4-1 the first year and then 4-0 the next year. So I think we should, now that team's disbanded, maybe after this year's after this year's playoffs, maybe then we could start holding him more accountable. Be like, this was probably the fairest year of basketball. You had the best chance of making it this year because there's no team right now. There's obviously the front runners, but there's no team that you're saying from the beginning of the year, they're definitely making the finals. Whereas Golden State every year for the past 3 years has been like, they're definitely making finals, Well, the first few years of you're right, because they had the 73-9 season. You sort of knew who was going to be in the finals. And it is, hopefully this year is a chance to redeem himself. Okay. Show that he does have what it takes, because I think the Rockets this year have as good a chance as ever. Yeah. And I also think, barring the injury to Chris Paul on that year, I think they would have had a championship. Okay. I would have given the championship to whoever made it through that year from the Western Conference, because the Cavs were not very strong. And I think Rockets would have had a championship right now if it wasn't for that hamstring injury. Okay. And I think that sort of derailed them mentally for the next season. They went into all this talk of how they got robbed by the officiating and all this. They really were caught up on the fact that they were that close, and it was just too much for them mentally to allow them to progress to the next year and be like, let's move on. Because they had the chance the next year. They had another good chance when Kevin Durant was injured in that series, and then Boogie. Who was it? Boogie that got injured as well in that series.
Boogie got injured in the first round. And then he showed up for the finals. So they were down Boogie. They were down Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson only got injured in the finals. So that could have been the year that there was no real. It was the year that they should have been like, they almost beat them with Kevin Durant, so why couldn't they do it without him? And exactly. I think it was just because by that stage there was too much toxicity in that team. Yeah. James Harden and Chris Paul were having issues, and so they missed their opportunity there. But I think this year they've got the opportunity to really go all the way and take the championship. Okay. Well, going on, I don't know, Jake. I'd have to disagree with you on the whole him being unfairly criticised. I think he should be copying that criticism only because he's had so many chances to win it. Like, regardless of whether injuries or whatever. Like, he's had the team that he wants. He's had, and I remember you saying last week, like, I feel like they shouldn't have changed it. I think you said they shouldn't have changed its team because now Golden State's out of the picture. Yeah, and if they had the same team, they could have won it this year. Maybe they could be in the second spot in the West. Who knows? But I feel like Mike D'Antoni's had the team that he wants. There's absolutely no excuses to not win at all. He's had the team he wants or wanted for the last 3 seasons. So, and if you look at his record, bowed out in the second round against the Spurs in 2017, 2018, lost in the conference finals against the Warriors when Chris Paul got injured, 2019, lost in 6 to the Warriors. So they were actually going backwards.
Well, as well, you can't overlook the fact that there is an excuse for him not making it that year. It was the fact that Chris Paul got injured.
Yeah.
They were winning the series 3-2, and then Chris Paul, who I felt was the guy leading that team in terms of the mentality, in terms of keeping poised, keeping a level head. As soon as he went out, those final 2 games, the Rockets played like trash. They made a record for the most missed 3-pointers in a row.
Yeah, the last game.
They just had you could just see them unraveling completely.
Yeah.
They just lost all their poise.
Sure.
And I think that is exactly the reason why they didn't make the finals that year. So that's a bit it's a bit unfair on Mike D'Antoni to receive that criticism. Sure, maybe he should have been the one that was like, look, we're still up 3-2 and kept composure. But yeah, he's not the one that went out there and missed 27 shots in a row. If the issue with his system is it's either hit or miss, right? You have such a high chance you can either be draining threes and just demolish your team, or you can have a game like that and everyone misses. Because 3-point shots are sometimes they're just not hitting, sometimes they just don't go in. So yeah, maybe you're right. He probably does deserve some criticism. I just think the NBA is very, very harsh with the criticism sometimes.
On coaches as well.
On coaches, on everyone really.
Yeah.
You can be the most loved person one day, and then you can have one loss, and you're the most criticised person in the league. So
I agree. Well, what do you think out there? Do you think Mike D'Antoni has been unfairly criticised for his coaching style and the game plan that he implements? Let us know your thoughts about Houston's chances as well heading into this year's playoffs, because I do think they're going to make a run, and I think they could upset one of the top 2 teams in the Lakers or Clippers.
Yeah.
Provided that I feel like that the Clippers, their chemistry, they need to start stringing some games with their full team. The Lakers, well, they're like the Bucks. They're just like
they're rolling.
Yeah, they're rolling along. I mean, they're on a 7-game winning streak for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let us know your thoughts. Do you think they can upset any of those top 2 teams? But yeah.
I think one thing that they have in their favor, is the fact that they're sort of being overlooked in the West. The Clippers and the Lakers are sort of seen as the 2 teams that are definitely going to meet in the conference finals. And then I look at Harden, who's been that close that many times. He feels like he's been snubbed for the MVP that many times. Then you look at Russell Westbrook, who's been a very highly criticised player over the past few years. He's been criticised for not making it out of the first round since he lost Kevin Durant. He came the year before that. He came within 1 game of making the finals with Kevin Durant on the team. Potentially could have won a championship that year. And I think when you look at all the stuff that those 2 have been through, I think this is the year that they've got a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to do whatever they can do to get to that. I think in terms of mentally, I think they're going to want it more than anyone else. And the type of passion that Russell Westbrook plays with, he will play with fire in his heart. And whether that can either be a bad thing or a good thing, because sometimes it works against him where he's playing, he won't do what he needs to do, and he's just playing too hard, and he'll try to take shots that he shouldn't. But yeah, I think in terms of the drive that they've got this year, it's going to be a tough team to knock out of the playoffs. We should get some good series in the playoffs this year. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah. Well, like I said, let us know your thoughts regarding Houston's chances. We're gonna talk about our hip hop segment now, and as you know, we always have a rapper of the week, and we only thought about who to talk about on Friday, on Friday, and we decided on none other than Kendrick Lamar, Duckworth. So yeah.
When did you find out that was his last name? Is that a recent thing for you?
Maybe. Yeah, it's a recent thing. I only saw it on like Wikipedia. I was like Duckworth, and I was like, hey, doesn't he have a song called Duckworth?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Damn album.
Yeah, Damn album, and we want to talk about Kendrick and where he came from. So Kendrick Lamar's from Compton, in California. As you know, it's like one of the ghetto areas in Los Angeles. It's South Central, and he's one of the pretty much modern day poets that's come out of LA. He's definitely comes from that Tupac. He definitely comes from that Tupac, or follows that Tupac Biggie era where he's a philosopher, poet, sort of like similar to J. Cole, really, but you alluded to his many voices and many voices, many
different personas.
Different
almost.
personas, yeah, that's right, different personas. So, do you want to talk about the different personas that Kendrick has?
Yeah, well, as you said, he's probably one of the best lyricists of this generation. Him and J. Cole would be my favorite two lyricists.
Yeah.
Kendrick, I don't know now because Cole's been giving me so much ammunition lately, but Kendrick for up until the past 2 years has been my favorite artist, hip hop artist of like all time. He's been my favorite. So he's always got like fire lyrics. But the thing, what I was saying to you before the podcast was I remember when I first started listening to Kendrick, I remember I'd hear songs and I'd be like, oh, who's this? And then someone would be like, oh, it's Kendrick. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This isn't Kendrick.
Yeah.
He sounds so different. And then I'd hear another song and I'd be like, who is this?
Yeah, exactly.
So he's got so many different sounds he can create with his voice, where he's got almost that pre-pubescent sort of sounding where he does the sort of sounds, and then he's just got so many cool sounds to his music where he can incorporate two different voices in the same song and switch it up just with his voice. Not even to mention the fact that a lot of his beats he'll incorporate some really cool changes in pace and changes in flow. He's just very, I would say, creative with his music. He's one of the most creative rappers in the game. Like he just has so many different tools that he makes use of, and he just, in doing so, creates some of the most interesting sounds, not just in his music but with his voices. That I think he sort of pioneered this whole, I feel like everyone's coming out with his raspy voice now, because he was doing the raspy sort of voice where you listen to people like JID, people like Isaiah Rashad.
Yep.
They all seem to try and make that same sort of raspy sounding voice that Kendrick, that's so, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
So I just love the way that he's able to give us something every single album. Within each album you'll hear different versions of Kendrick, or in each album, if you listen to each album, it is just a different version of Kendrick that you're getting. You got like the raw starting out Kendrick in Section 80, and you just see him evolve every album after that. So Section
80 is such a personal album. That's one of my favorite albums from Kendrick. Section 80, because it's just, I feel like you can relate to what he's saying. He's just trying. I think his overall theme was trying to make it out of the hood. You know, don't go into like he's talking to his people and saying, look, don't go into prostitution. Don't, the cops are so corrupt in the area in Los Angeles. And a good example is Keisha's song, where he's talking about, I don't know if that's a true story, but I think he's talking to his sister or his younger sister and saying, don't Keisha's hustling, but she's hustling because of something bad happened to her. Like apparently her stepfather or mom's girlfriend was
abusive,
abusing her, and all she had to do to pay the bills was to obviously,
it's like
prostitution on the streets.
It's a story she sort of learned. How she was being abused, that's the way she should be treated, and then she let her clients beat up on her and stuff.
And then you sort of have like black empowerment songs like High Power. It was actually produced by J. Cole, by the way.
Everybody put three fingers in the air. I love that song.
The skies
falling, the wind is calling, stand for something or die in the morning. Section 80, high power.
Exactly. And so and then you got like really jazzy songs like Rigor Mortis.
Oh yeah.
And then ADHD.
He spits fire in that song. Rigor Mortis, man. He's so quick. I think. Like you're sort of giving us an idea right now of how different every song is on his album. It's
the
like
different
different
flows, personas. So that album, that's how I got into Kendrick, was that album there.
Everyone knows the song ADHD as well. That's on Section 80. One of the greatest songs. I remember hearing it for the first time on GTA 5. When you're driving around the radio, I'm like, what is this song? It's hectic. So he definitely has just so many different feels in just Section 80 itself. That was his first record album. And there's songs like Hold Up, where he's just such a fun face song.
Gets you like really
hold up. Hold up.
Really groovy and get into a mood. 100%. Let's go on a Good Kid, Mad City. I mean, this is my favorite album. I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but for me, this is such like, it had many different styles and flows as well. Like, I mean, we have like, I suppose Kendrick's first love in this, Shireen. It talks a lot about Shireen, and he has little snippets of his mum and dad talking to him, or like, his dad's always asking for Domino's. I was like, is he talking about Domino's pizza or like Domino's as in the game?
Yeah,
the game.
I always wondered that as well.
His dad's just, I don't know what he was doing.
One, he feeling good.
And this one, it's also about like trying to make a name for yourself, get out of the hood. His mum even says like, or I think his dad says in Real, and this is like one of the best quotes I've ever heard, was his dad says to him at the end of the song, like, Kendrick, like, real is responsibility. Real is taking care of your motherfucking family. Real is God. And I was like, it's so true. Like, if you want to be a real man, like, you take care of your family, you gotta have responsibilities. So I thought that was like, that really hit me with Kendrick. And then you got like your really flowy songs like Money Trees, and then you got Money Trees is such a great song.
Such a great song.
One of my favorite songs. But yeah, what were your thoughts on Good Kid, Mad City? You love Black Boy Fly.
That's the bonus song. Black Boy Fly is my favorite song. Probably at the moment, it's probably my favorite Kendrick song. That's again going on what you're saying of his sort of fear of like it's almost a story of him growing up and being jealous of all the guys he's seen make it out of Compton, like the game he mentions in the song. And it's interesting seeing his perspective of being a kid growing up in Compton and feeling like he's never going to get out of that situation. Correct. And he raps about that sort of thing a lot. He always alludes to not wanting to go back to that position that he came from. But Black Boy Fly is just a great song. He's very deep, he's got great lyrics in it, but also a very vibey sort of song. The chorus is good. You can just vibe to it. So that's just one of the many great songs on this album. He's just got so many good songs it's just hard to pay reference to more.
Exactly.
But you got Mad City, which is probably everyone's like the biggest banger from the. Would you say of that last decade? Like,
I think that's Kendrick Lamar's banger.
that is his big song.
I don't know of the like decade or like overall.
I
get so hypey.
So.
I get
Everyone does, man.
Amped up when
Pyro
goes,
was in
yeah.
They probably got me down by the end of the song. Seem like the whole
city go against me every time I'm in the street.
Yeah. Everyone like that's for me probably the biggest banger of the last decade, I would say.
Okay.
But then you've got other songs. So he's in that song itself. He's got the two different he uses two different voices in the first verse and the second verse. He sort of switches up. There's a mad beat. There's a mad sort of change in flow, change in background track. So that show just really showcases the skill and the creativity of Kendrick Lamar. And then he's got so many good songs that it's just hard to name more. Swimming Pools is another pretty popular song, but even though I have no issue enjoying the really mainstream popular songs of Kendrick Lamar because they're popular for a reason, because they're so good, and they're so vibey to listen to. So there's a lot of good songs. You said Real, which is a great song, and there's another song that I really like on this album called Sing About Me, which is almost like a sort of song about wanting to be remembered after he's dead. And he just Poetic Justice as well is a great song.
The Recipe with Dr. Dre. That's the three best things. Not saying I do it, but women, weed, and weather. I mean, he's obviously talking about LA and his love for LA, and obviously LA has the women.
You just got to say, I just scrolling through the album. There's not a bad song on the entirety of the album.
Yeah.
The Art of Peer Pressure, Backstreet Freestyle.
Yeah.
Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. Could you? It's definitely an album, probably the best album for me in that I've probably ever heard in terms of just every song is great. I can't. It's so hard to pick a favorite song.
Yeah.
For me, it's ridiculous how many good songs this guy has.
What about To Pimp a Butterfly? We're just going through his discography at the moment. To the viewers.
This guy is one of the guys that you just have to go through everything and just appreciate, because every album has been so great.
Yeah, but for me, like I know a lot of people are gonna give me shit for this, but I feel like To Pimp a Butterfly was too like in your face, like, you know, I'm standing up for my people. I get that, like, but it was just too standing, like too stand in your face, sort of album. And a lot of people love this album, To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick. It's their favorite album. I think it was voted like the best album of the decade,
which is surprising to me, because Mad City is definitely the best album of the decade. But it is that close because they're so good, both of them. I don't really agree with you on that, because I love most songs on this album. And like, what songs would you say are too in your face?
Institutionalized. That was like, oh, come on, man. Like,
that's not really one of the songs that I spend a lot of time listening to be honest.
Even you was a bit like, and it had a different feel to it compared to Mad City and Section 80.
Yeah.
You know, but I get it. Like,
sort of like I've made it now sort of feel.
Yeah.
And even
the album, look at the album cover. It's just like the White House, and then you got the guys, and I think he's trying to make a statement here. Like, you know, there should be more, you know, more African Americans
in the White House.
not in the White House, just in roles in roles like of power. Yeah, so it was just, to me, in the pecking order, I'd say this is probably third out of his discography. I'll definitely put Mad City and
Section 80 above it.
Section 80 above it, yeah. But no, I don't have a problem with people who say this is his best album. So
well, you definitely, when in terms of the great songs on it, you got King Kunta, which is was bang, like that was.
Got a bone.
That just absolutely blew up, man. Yeah. That song was everywhere for a long time, and with good reason. Like, bitch, where you when I was walking? Just like
exactly, yeah.
It's just such a good funky beat, and then you've got another song. One of my favorite songs on this album is Wesley's Theory, because it has such a. It's cool and fun at first, and it's got like a good feel to it, and then it like breaks down, changes up. I think the beat it slows down, breaks down, and then he goes into this sick verse at the end, and it's just a really mind blowing song. I remember the first time I heard it, I was just like I just couldn't believe it. And then you got other good songs on it that are really funky, like These Wars. One of my other favorite songs is which I'm pretty sure is on To Pimp a Butterfly. Right, but that song to me is really. Like, I just love singing it. It's like, I love myself. Just real uplifting, I think. Makes you feel good inside. And I like songs that do that. I like Kanye West for that reason. He's very uplifting, self-love. And so to have songs like that, I really appreciate that type of music.
Now, with his latest album, Damn, it was released in 2017. Now, this album definitely solidified his position as the king. It was... I feel like he didn't even need to release this album because the other albums were like...
Yeah, that was...
fire. We're already fire. And like this just pretty much put him as status as like the number one of
for sure.
of the decade, and it did. I didn't love it, but I liked this album very much. A
lot of people didn't really like Damn as much as his other albums, which I don't see why, because to me this was one of his best albums. Well, to me they're all just the best. Every album is so good in different ways, but this album to me had so many. He talked about so many good things. So many real things. It's such a real album. You can tell he's put a lot of thought into the storytelling. He's got songs like Fear, where he goes into his fears of, like, it's got the three different timelines almost in the song, where he's got as a kid he's fearful of his mum and getting in trouble. And then he's got the second part where he's talking about almost like a 17-year-old fearful of death because all the different ways you die, and you can die being in the place where he grew up. And then he talks about now when he was 27 and he was fearful of losing the money that he's gained and going back to that position.
He makes a reference to Rihanna's accountant stealing money from her. Like, there's just all this external pressures and
scared to go back to Section 80 with my mama stressing. 30 shows a month and I still won't buy me no Lexus.
Exactly. So there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. It's not just about him, it's about Compton and African American people in general. Like, he's trying to make a statement out there for them. So we just continuing on. With Damn, we were saying that this album solidified his position as the king of hip hop. Which is arguable. Anything's down to your own opinion. Your own opinion. But we were talking about Fear, which is a great song on the album. That was produced by The Alchemist, who's one of the great producers, hip hop producers out there. He's a pretty good producer. Check his stuff out, definitely. But like other songs on the album, man, I enjoyed Love. Love was it's slow, but it's very like, very groovy and very like sexual, I suppose.
He crept.
Yeah. And loyalty. So, like, it's interesting, hey, even the titles of these, like the concepts that he's bringing up, he's trying to say something here. Yeah,
he's very artistic with his... Every album has a certain theme to it, where I think you're talking about how Good Kid, Mad City had his parent. There was skits at the end of every song, and then there was in this album he always alludes to the fact that nobody's praying for him. Ain't nobody praying for me, and he alludes to that a lot. I feel like this one he's sort of toiling a bit with losing his soul in the position he's in, being like he wants to maintain his humbleness. He doesn't want to be letting the fame and the money change who he is, and it's very interesting how he has a theme for an album, and he creates around that theme. Every song on this album is a single word as the name, and then the song will go into that. So he's got like feel is a great song. He's like, I feel like the world on my shoulders. I feel like every line almost starts with I feel like, and he's got pride, humble. Everyone knows humble. I remember
got voted 2018 Triple J's on number 1 on Triple J's Hottest 100.
I remember when I first listened to Humble, I think this was the type of album, and I'll get to my point on Humble, but I feel like this whole album was the type of album you had to listen to it twice or 3 or 4 times before you really started to see the brilliance of it. But Humble was the perfect example of that for me, because I remember listening to Humble for the first time and being like, oh, this is pretty basic for Kendrick. After every album he's released, I was like, oh, this isn't that impressive. I was pretty disappointed, to be honest, when I first heard Humble, because that was the song he released as a taster. But after listening to it over and over again, it just grew on me so much, to the point where I was just like, this is just a good banger sort of song. Even though the beat's pretty basic in the background, it's catchy, you can sing it. And I remember I went and saw him play in 2018 when he came and did his Damn tour, and I remember he played Humble and everyone was going nuts, but then he like cut it out and did it again, but in just a cappella, and everyone was just singing in a cappella. I was just like, wow, what a great song that I just did not appreciate upon my first listening to. And I think the whole album you sort of needed to listen to 2 or 3 times to really appreciate it.
Sure.
Unlike some of the other albums where you just hear it once and you're just like, wow. The first, like as I was saying with Wesley's Theory, you're just like, your mind's blown. I think this one was deeper and was more thoughtful. I think so much thought went into this album.
Definitely,
As probably a lot of thought went into every one of his albums. But it's a credit to how much of an artist this guy really is, how he's so smart, and he knows what he wants to do, he knows what he wants to say, and he just does it in a brilliant way. He's just really... I don't think that there's anyone else that matches him in terms of the quality of every album. Every album is such high quality. Every album is just, it hits you on a different level. And I think if it wasn't for J. Cole just killing everyone lately, he'd still win. He's still number 1 in terms of the best rapper for me. But J. Cole, it's just, we live in a world where you're constantly being stimulated by new things, and at the moment J. Cole's just more prevalent to me. Kendrick sort of taken a bit of time. Maybe his next album's going to be mind-blowing again, because he takes his time for it.
Well, going on that, like his last album was in April 2017. So Damn was released in April 2017.
3 years ago now.
Yeah, 3 years ago. And I was there for the Coachella when he released this album. It was a great show. I had an amazing time at the Coachella as well. And he had
very jealous of you guys.
he loves Kung Fu. kung fu movies.
Yeah, Kung Fu Kenny.
Yeah, which is why it's called Kung Fu Kenny. Yeah, Kung Fu.
Got the poster
Have
up
you
there.
guys have a look? Yeah, we'll zoom that in maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Definitely Kendrick loves his Kung Fu.
Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that because I remember at the show I went and saw it was a very Kung Fu themed.
Yeah.
He did it was very cool. You had like this full
That's right.
skit in the background where it was like he'd filmed them doing almost like acting in an olden day Kung Fu movie.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah. So we're anticipating his latest release. There was an article released in I'm not too sure when, but teasing that Kendrick is gonna release a new album. So we will definitely look forward to that. But we'll wrap it up there. Just regarding.
Before we do, I think it's worth noting that they're expecting this because he's been appearing in a lot of lineups for festivals recently, and that tends to sort of allude to the fact that he might be releasing new music. But some of the notes that have been released on it is that he's just apparently going to be making this a bit more. He's going to have a bit more rock influence on this album, so it could be a completely different thing to what we've experienced from Kendrick.
Yep.
And that might be the theme is going through some different sounds.
Sure.
And, yeah, pretty exciting.
We'll leave it there. Let us know what you think about Kendrick Lamar, and is he still the number one guy in hip hop? Do you think he's been dethroned by anyone? So, or if you think J. Cole or anyone else?
Well, as the wise J. Cole would say, we are kings.
Yeah.
Kings of ourselves first and foremost.
Exactly. So but thanks for another show, guys. Remember, if you like our content, just drop a like, comment, or subscribe to our channel. We are on Spotify now, so you can listen to us on your way to work or just in your spare time. But we, on behalf of Jake and I, we just want to say thank you so much for for just tuning in and listening to us. Do you have anything else to say, to add? Thanks
for all the support, guys.
Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. Stay safe.
Peace.
Goodbye.